So we continue our lecture on research and development. Okay, basically, last 50 years, pharmaceutical manufacturing use batch process, or we know that it's a traditional step-by-step batch processing. Okay, but now they moving towards continuous manufacturing, for example, in automotive, food and beverage, and refining industries. And then hopefully, continuous process or continuous manufacturing now is gaining acceptance in pharmaceutical production. Okay, so here there is a problem between batch and continuous. For example, in batch processing, it's a quite slower manufacturing and also less safe because of higher risk for contamination and error between steps. Then, so it is make a great sense to migrate towards continuous manufacturing. And this is an example under continuous manufacturing with online monitoring under pharmaceutical manufacturing. Okay, and then we go to next chapter, subtopic selection of chemical processes. Basically, we should ask ourselves, should it be batch or continuous? This kind of question you may ask during your final or third year. Okay, during your CPD, I think integrated design project. Okay, whether to choose batch or continuous process. Okay, the standard answer is always it depends, because you may be better off to use a batch on front end operation followed by a continuous process. Okay, so have a look at the following factors. First factors is economics, of course, money. Okay, how much capital are you willing to risk? Product development will generally take place in batch operation. For scale up, because of the many factors that come to place with solid processing, so normally it like 10 time batch operation before considering an expansion to continuous. If you have large or huge amount of capital, then you can choose continuous process. But if this is only under research and development, then I think batch process is a priority. Okay, next, market. You have to look at the market. Okay, market of your product, whether this is a demand or not. Okay, for instance, if you anticipate the eventual need to change particle size, for example, doing so can be difficult in a continuous process. If you want to change later on, if you want to follow like before these people talk about micro size, no, nowadays they talk about nano. Before this is micro size. Now we are moving towards nano size. So it's difficult to do in a continuous process. Okay, maybe you have to study the market so that we know whether the equipment or the equipment that we buy can be long lasting or not. Okay, and then the other factor is existing equipment. Okay, and then what else? Complexity. Batch operation may be good when many steps are involved and the same type of equipment could handle multiple steps. Tapi agak susah lah because we afraid of contamination or safety for safe wise lah. Okay, potential for change to the model. Okay, batch operation allow for alteration that may occur in the process. The model developed from research could have missed some heat transfer issues or missing problem that did not show up on a small scale. If you have this concern, I suggest further batch scale up before looking at a continuous process. Okay, next, expansion potential. Let's say you want to expand your company, So you have to have a look on the cost effective. Okay, regulation ni maksudnya kita ada restriction ataupun government law and policy. You have to follow the policy from the government. Okay. Next, test your understanding. Actually, this question I will ask or I will upload in Ellipse. Then you have to answer. Basically, you can Google the answer. Okay, you can easily get the answer from the Google. Okay, but then the critical part is justify your answer. It doesn't matter right or wrong, but please use your own words. Okay, I have a answer from the Google too, but I want you to rephrase, to restructure or rearrange your what you get from Google. Then it will be your answer. That I will ensure that there is if there is a plagiarism, then you cannot get a full mark. Okay. That's it for today. But before I end, I would like to recap my what you call my lecture for today. Evaluating the advantage. So here we already learned about 4 process: batch, continuous, semi-batch, semi-continuous. Then you have to you should be able to evaluate the disadvantages and advantages of every types of process, because this is very important to determine which one would work best for you. Okay. When it comes to the cost of equipment, continuous process is more expensive. Okay, it's more expensive than the other the counterparts BCB and SC. Okay, however, when comparing the production rate, other processes, batch process has lower rate than the continuous one. So let's say I ask you to choose which process should be used for this kind of operation. So if let's say you choose continuous, then you should be able to justify or to explain or to discuss why you choose continuous. Let's say I have 100, you are given 100,000. So continuous or batch, for example. Let's say you say continuous. We have enough money to buy all equipment, or you choose batch. Maybe you can say I choose batch even though there is a lack of a low capital here, but because our production rate is higher than batch, so I think in a few years we can cover the capital cost, something like that. Okay. And then the other point or the quick other factors should be shutdown times. In continuous is whereas it happen quite often in a batch process. Maybe you can talk about manpower ataupun worker. Okay, manpower perform the work. You can benefit more with a continuous process as it require fewer people than its counterpart. Okay lah, kan? And then in terms of ease of automation, batch process relatively more difficult than the continuous process. So however, for majority of application, continuous process save cost, energy and time when this process. So keyword here: cost, energy and time. So when you want to consider we want to consider which processes which process should be choose, so you have to talk about this one lah. Okay, these 3 words. Okay, keyword here: cost, energy and time. Okay, when this process is properly implemented, Apa tu, CP is the best. I can say CP ataupun continuous process is the best type of chemical process, because it can reduce waste, improve quality by making it easier to identify and correct error, and increase the productivity. Okay guys, I think that's it for today. Please answer, or don't forget to answer the question of quiz in the ellipse. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.